Hey, everybody, welcome to another fantastic episode of Plastic Adventures. I guess it's a podcast. Hello,
Show.
everyone. And I am Doug with my stuff, and Steve with his growing. What do you call it? It's a little collection right
Oh,
now.
Steve, your collection is so quaint. It's so quaint.
So cute.
Size doesn't
Adorable.
matter.
when,
Yeah, yeah, it does. When you collect, yeah, it does.
when it's a collection, yeah, size doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyways,
So yeah, hello everybody once again. Long distance, as is going to be the norm. Uh, I think we got some fun things on the show, but let's take a look at the very minuscule amount of news that sort of filtered out over this past cycle. I think Doug, you're going to start us off on one that everybody's kind of buzzing about, and it surprised me, and then it kind of let me fall a little flat with it. So why don't you tell us what we're looking at?
yeah. So this is a good one that they kind of surprised us with. It's from the Legacy series, which is Metroplex. He's a gigantic. What did they say? He was 22 centimeter. Was it?
Yeah, the new figure is 22 inches tall. The old
22
one
inches.
13, and it is a partial retool of that like pretty ghastly looking Cybertron Metroplex from crap. I don't know what it was.
I think it wasn't Titan's Return, was it?
No, it was way before that.
Was it really?
Yeah, this one was. I think it preceded all of these great series that sort of turned back to G1.
Well, I mean, for what he looks like, he actually looks pretty decent to me. So there he is in his figure.
I know where this was from. It was from Transformers Cybertron. That was the series.
Cybertron.
Yeah.
He looks like a really cool figure. I'm not sure what the old figure looked like. I didn't do any of that kind of homework for it, but from what I can see, I mean, he looks pretty fun. I mean, he's got some great articulation in his hands. His face actually looks really good. I don't know if you can see that if it's too pixelated. The only thing that I didn't know about this version of Metroplex was the giant saw. Like, I don't know where that came from.
I don't know. The robot mode looks kind of cool, and they've beefed up and extended a bunch of the parts that were on this.
Okay.
So I'm not really sure. This one was like out of left field hell. I don't know if Hasbro had some of this tooling already done and available, like they were gonna do it, and then it got shelved. But or if they just thought, hey, we've already got some existing tooling. Let's create some new parts to work in conjunction, and we can come up with this Titan class figure with a new price point, and save a bunch of money on creating new assets to bring it out. But
well, for whatever the reason, I mean, you have collectors like me who didn't jump back into Transformers during the Combiner Wars or the Titans Return era or the Cyber. You know what I mean? I kind of got back into Transformers during the War for Cybertron era. That's when I started getting back into it, and then going back and finding some of the Transformers that I had missed in previous collections. So for them to re-release a character like this, even if it is with different tooling, is good for some of the collectors like me who didn't get a chance for this. Now, I'm not going to get this one. I think that the price point might be a little too high for a figure like this.
Did you see the manufacturer's suggested retail price on this?
What was it?
$199.99.
That's too much.
We're $40 above the standard price point on these things.
So my take is, I mean, he looks like a really cool figure. I mean, he would look fun sitting on your shelf. I like his colors. His colors, they pop a little bit. I'm not too sure about his saw accessory. I don't know why they made this certain one, even in the previous version, why they made him a giant saw thing. I mean, he's Metroplex. He's supposed to be a giant city, right?
He's not a city. He's like this big. He's a gigantic weird block that has a weed whacker on one side and teeny tiny little plows on the other, like he's a big construction vehicle.
Yeah.
A clam on the other side. So he's some sort of weird, like U-shaped backhoe. And I mean, like that dude, that vehicle mode was almost like, well, how can we just fold these parts?
Yeah, it's like they came up with the robot mode first and the vehicle mode separate a second, you know?
Yeah, it's a good looking robot mode, but when I see something like this, I think that's really a reach.
Yeah.
And the reason that they've been knocking it out of the park is because they've been doing these like really big classic characters like Omega Supreme, Metroplex, Fort Max, Scorponok, Tripticon. And I don't know if they're just running out of idea. They did the Arc, which made even more sense than this guy,
Yeah.
who has survived in like one cartoon series and maybe had some comic book appearances. And I mean, he was not even like a major character in that series. So I wonder, why was it just a desperation to bring out a SKU at this price range, or is this sort of like a fill-in while something else really neat and cool is coming? Because it's really bizarre. I mean, I would have almost rather had a Titans Returns Metroplex with a few little remolds and done in like a Metro Titan color scheme.
Well, I mean, that one looks more like Metroplex, right? So
yeah, this guy's Metroplex in name, probably to maintain a trademark when they made him. But it's such an oddball figure. It's got a cool look, but to me, it sort of harkens to the like, the Japanese exclusive series after G1 ended, and you had like Headmasters, which was traditional G1. You had Super God Master Force, which was Power Masters.
That's right.
And then you went off into Victory, and you started getting some really unique designs. And then post Victory, they were just off the wall. And his coloration and the details really kind of, to me, lend him towards one of these Japanese looking, Japanese exclusive Transformer designs from those later animated series, and completely not even remotely close to anything that the Western audiences were used to seeing.
Victory was where they had what was that? It was Victory Leo and Star Saber, right? That would combine into
yeah.
That was a cool line. They should have gave us that. They should have gave us another one of those. I would have been really happy if they would have gave us, like I told you earlier, another shot at a Jetfire. That would have been really nice. Give us something like that maybe some people who are starting to get into this collection again, give them a shot at getting some of these other figures that right now are just so overly priced on the secondary market. Give us a shot at getting some of those.
Yeah, I agree. I think that would have been like number one priority to get that back out into hands. I mean, we're seeing some like, why did Galvatron show up at the end of Earthrise, and then now in Legacy we're getting another Galvatron already?
Yeah,
it's clean decos, but I mean that decos versus a character that you just couldn't get like Jetfire, it seems like a no-brainer to me. If you need a high price point figure, then it should be
release Jetfire. I mean, what you were one lucky son of a gun when you found yours. You found him at a discount store for $40, but I mean, if they put him back on the shelf and they gave him a price point of say like $79.99.
Yeah, I think you'd be mid to upper 80s, because that's where the pricing has inflated to on those. I guess they call them Commander class.
But I think more people would have been jazzed about something like that than about this kind of Metroplex. But I'll give credit where credit is due. I like the colors. I like his robot design. I'm not too jazzed about his accessory, but I do like the way he looks in the robot mode. And so if it was one of those things where how you come across something and you have the opportunity and you can get it, it would be one of those where it would be a buy in the moment. If I had it, it was good, and all the stars aligned and everything I wanted was good, maybe I would pick him up because he would look good on the shelf, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think that the robot looks great. When you look at the aesthetic of the line, it is almost like this stick out sore thumb weird looking thing that doesn't belong.
Yeah. But as far as Transformer news goes, that's about it for me. I know you got some stuff. What do you got there?
Well, yeah, actually, as of yesterday, Walmart.com had up the NECA April and KC 2-pack, the farmhouse scene from Ninja Turtles, the movie 1990. We've seen some images of this over the last several months, and some of them hitting eBay that are 100, 150, 160 bucks, which is either some cases that have gone out to some small specialty shops or something like that, or stuff maybe from the Asian market and it's shipping from point of origin. But seeing that come up for pre-order, which of course it is now sold out. I was very, very lucky and I got mine on the pre-order, but with Walmart, that doesn't mean squat. We could get 10 minutes from release and then they just decide that they didn't have the stock to fulfill it.
Yeah.
So, that's just how these things go with those guys. But I did get my pre-order in and I'm excited. They're really, really great figures and they sort of round off that collection of 2-packs, which is sort of where I'm at with the boxed figures. And I obviously have a set of loose ones that came with boxes, but as far as what's going to display in box, I kind of skipped out on the Casey Jones and Raphael 2-pack and what is it? The Oroko Saki and Hamato Yoshi 2-pack.
Yeah, that one, I've seen that one many times on the shelf and each time I've passed.
Yeah, if we're talking core characters in a really cool collection, you get the Turtles, Shredder Splinter, the Foot Soldier 2-pack, and then now the April Casey thing from the Farmhouse kind of completes that collection. It gives you like 10 really nice looking movie figures, and they're absolutely tremendous anyway. So
yeah, and we just don't talk about the Danny character.
No, Loot Crate exclusive hostage jabroni. I mean, that could be a character that qualifies for a later conversation, but
I don't know. Maybe he fits in today's conversation. I don't know. We'll see.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe. But
all right, on for those. What else you
got? It's been really slow. It kind of seems like I have been seeing some reports of the Terraclaws Skeletor getting out now. Yeah. So we should be seeing that. I've got my Walmart people here know me now. I walked in and the lady says to me, are you one of those Hot Wheels collectors? And I don't know if I've told this story on here or not. And I said, no, I collect action figures. So they're used to seeing me. And
Hot Wheels? No. We collect action figures.
I'm a man. I collect action figures. Yeah. I know what the ladies like. So my Walmart just it has nothing but a bunch of the new He-Man pushed into the pegs where it goes. So I might do them a solid and clear those pegs and put it back up on the top shelf so that they know where the cool stuff goes.
Leave a note. Terraclaw goes here.
Yesterday morning when I was in there, the night crew is getting just about done in toys when I show up every morning. I get there like right at 6:55 or 7 in the morning because it's on my way into the building. And I did see a couple of boxes of Legacy Voyagers.
Ooh.
They hadn't put them on the shelf. So the Legacy Voyagers, that is Blaster and what's the big fatso's name?
Bulkhead.
Bulkhead, that's it. Who looks better now? So that means that the deluxe class figures shouldn't be too long coming.
Hopefully, because I'm still looking for that drag strip and kickback. Those would be nice ones to get.
Yeah. I'm not sure if we're ready for those quite yet, but just knowing that the deluxe figures are starting to get. I know they're out there, and when I found that one case, whatever that was, the last couple of them that at my secret Target, it had also came with the Voyagers, and there's plenty of Voyager bulkheads still at secret Target if anybody wants them.
Yeah, I've seen some of that ours too. So I know he's not as popular as say some of the other ones are. So
yeah, good looking toy, but it's packed 3 to 1 blaster.
Yeah.
So I mean, you got the figure in there that people couldn't get. Unless you're really, really lucky, you find them at Freddy's for $7 or $8 more than what they should be and still buy them. That's me. I ain't taking no chances. But you're packing poor Blaster in 1 to 3 with Bulkhead. Yeah. So just
and,
seeing those.
And it doesn't matter which Blaster you get, if you got him Kingdom or if you get him Legacy. That's a beautiful figure. I mean, it's a great update to an awesome character. So I love that Blaster figure. And so Legacy version or Kingdom version doesn't matter. He's great. Anybody should be happy when they get him.
Yeah, that's like hands down one of the best ones they've put out so far.
I agree.
So Hasbro Pulse got a little sneaky. They revealed some new Marvel Legends and a whole line of Spider-Man Marvel Legends today.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, but there's some great looking figures in there, and they kind of reached deep into Spider history for these.
Oh, good.
So I would suggest checking Pulse out if you're any kind of like remotely a Spidey guy. But what was more important than that to me, and to like 3 out of 40 collectors out there, next Tuesday is a fan first GI Joe Tuesday.
Yay! I wonder what we're gonna.
I know.
I love GI Joe reveals, man. I can't wait to see what they're gonna give. Are they gonna show us like packaging or actual plastic instead of digital renders of something? Hopefully, like maybe we'll see some Stalker, or maybe we'll see something.
Maybe I'll find them at Walmart when they haven't been revealed yet. Not this one.
6 days afterward. But we don't have figures to reveal, or we don't have, actual in-hand figures. Well, what's this, Hasbro? I bought this at Walmart.
Yeah, I don't really want to get my hopes up too much, but after what I thought would be a very, very conservative Fan First Friday, or Fan First, what was that, last Wednesday or Tuesday with the Transformers?
Tuesday Transformers, yep.
And you just think there's going to be a few little ones bookended with all the Power Rangers figures, and they just like explode.
Yeah, and that was an awesome reveal. I mean, even the Ultra Magnus from that reveal, even though it's still another, it's a repaint with a retooled head, still a magnificent figure, still good looking. I love the colors on him, and I would, if I ever got him, I wouldn't use the skull head. I would use the red and blue head.
Yeah. So, powered convoy head from Diaclone.
Yep, and that would be the really only reason, because I'm really starting to dig the alternate colors from some of these the figures that they got that are Diaclone inspired. So he would be one that if chances were what they are, and you see him on the shelf and some other idiot passed him up, I'd have to grab him.
Yeah, it's a little too much of a stretch for me, but it is an absolutely beautiful figure to begin with. I mean, just probably the best Ultra Magnus ever. Obviously, I like the Earth or Kingdom version slightly better because of the details, but
yep.
You cannot.
But really, there's no real difference between how the figure moves or even how it displays between the Siege and the Kingdom versions. I mean, they're both pretty much identical except for the test retool, right?
It's $60 worth of new figure for like 17 cents worth of mold changes.
Yeah.
This guy right here.
Yeah, but I guess it's worth it to some people.
Yeah, so I'm actually kind of hoping to see if there's some new O-ring reveals next week.
That would be good, because they've done that the last two, right? They revealed Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow on the first one, and then they revealed the Cobra Trooper 2-pack, and then the Duke and Cobra Commander 2-pack.
Yeah, so we've seen Duke and Cobra Commander. I would love it if that went live.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Maybe this one, they say that they'll finally be available for order.
Yeah, because that one I'm definitely buying that pack also with those two. I don't know that I'm going to get every single one of the packs. It just kind of depends on what the assortment is. But I have to have that Duke, and that Cobra Commander looks really good. Yep. So I'm here's hoping that next week Hasbro just comes out as loud and out of the gates as hard as they did with Transformers, because the last several reveal cycles that they've had have all been like tremendous reveals.
They've all been really good. So I'm hoping for good things on Tuesday.
Yeah. So you got any news? I know it was a skinny cycle again.
No, that was it. Just the Metroplex. So that was it for news.
So I guess we're moving over to some show and tell.
Yeah.
And it's pretty scant on your side.
Yeah, on my side this week, working a lot and have a wedding that we're trying to plan for. So toys and stuff have kind of taken a backseat. But I did stumble on something that I thought was pretty cool for the price point that it was. In GameStop, some of their Star Wars Black Series figures were being marked down in price. And so when I was looking through their stuff, and I saw the Hoth Han Solo, and I'm like, well, I guess, maybe not. And then I walked over to the other side of the aisle, and they had Hoth Luke. And so I was like, oh man. So yeah, I picked up Hoth Han Solo, and I picked up Hoth Luke. And they're good 6-inch figures, just like the Black Series usually delivers on. The only thing that's a little wonky is I love everything else about this Luke other than his face. I mean, he looks like, I don't know if you can see that. Like, what is like, he looks, I don't know, like law. I don't know. He doesn't even look like Luke. It just, I don't know. But other than that, they're actually good figures. I mean, the Black Series always has great articulation, great accessories, great detail. So not bad for $10 each, right? I mean, that's a pretty good haul.
I'm Luke Skywalker.
Who am I?
Well, I had one of those rare weeks this past week and I usually don't get like bunches of stuff. It's little things here and there. I go a few weeks and don't get anything. But I got to tell you, man, this greater like stretch of area from Everett up to Bellingham has been really productive.
Ooh, don't give that secret away.
Yeah, so I actually have a ton of reveals, and I'll start it off with something that my wife got from Bulbacon. I was down there again this past weekend.
Great store.
Yeah, and for the most part, this isn't anything, mind blowing or anything like that. It's your 12-inch Darth Vader. She's totally into the figures. I
have to say something about that particular figure because I have him. So when I bought this online, I did not see, like I said, I was not into the collecting and stuff when all these things first hit the market. So I went online and bought this one, and all they showed me was the cover. So I'm looking at that going, oh, 12-inch Darth Vader. Hey, this looks great. I'm gonna buy that. Boop. He gets in and I open up the package. I look at him. I'm like, what the hell is this? That doesn't look anything like the cover.
Nope.
But anyway, I still have them, and I actually have a little soft spot in my heart for the 12-inch collector series Star Wars. So that's not a bad addition.
So there we go. That's where it lives on the shelf behind me.
Nice.
So that was her big one, and I actually did kind of pick up something interesting from Bulbacon for me, for the trouble. This is going to go.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the
as seen on TV.
Yeah, the Super Sevens as seen on TV. It actually looks really good in person, and with now expanding into 2 retail shelves, I want to be able to showcase a little bit more of the stock stuff, and this is going to look really good on the shelf with the other Masters figures. So for me, it was a pretty easy.
It looks like really good filmation, right? Like the filmation version of Tila.
I like the styling, everything about it. I know a lot of people have complained about those figures, but I really liked them. I think they're a little bit too shiny. I wish the paint was all like matte finish, so it looked like an animation cell. But if I really wanted to treat my He-Man, I would just get the airbrush out and use some matte clear finish on it to take it down. So not super critical at the moment. That might be some like boredom project, down the road.
Way down the road.
Before we left, a couple of weeks before I knew we needed to pack up and come up here, I bought an airbrush and had a lot of fun with it. It was a super good tool. It was $12 at Harbor Freight. So
good deal.
Yeah, 100% worth it. But in sticking with Bulbacon, I did get something else that was kind of interesting there. This is actually this is a Doug reveal.
Ooh, yay! Oh, look at that! It's not the fleshy colored Stratos. It's the gray one.
It is. This is out of that ill-fated Target line. That it was him, and I did not find Zodak. Otherwise, I would have bought Zodak. But this one is yours, and that comes via Bulbacon. Great store. I know I've gushed about him the last couple of times, but it's just insane.
Hey, they're good. They're we'll free plug them. Why not?
Mm-hmm. So we met a new collector up here. His name is Dominic, and he couldn't be here for the podcast tonight. He's working in Bellingham, but I ended up doing a trade with him. I found for him, I think I showed last week, the Bats and the Alley Viper that came out at Walmart, right? So I'm going to show you the items that I got in trade from that.
Oh, nice.
And the next one, this is also a Doug reveal.
Uh-oh.
This is a Doug figure.
Oh yes, the classic Merman. So
Yeah.
I love this one. I mean, I also love the Lords of Power one. Don't get me wrong, that one's actually really cool looking too. But this one helps complete that original 8 release.
Yeah.
So he looks really good. Look at that. Oh man.
And honestly, Dominic was so excited that I found those figures. I mean, he ended up trading up considerably to me to get them, and this was just kind of a hookup thing that I told him that you were looking for it. At one point, he was going to be a dealer with his buddy, and his buddy let him buy a bunch of stuff on the credit card and took off.
Oh no.
So this is just one of those things that Dominic happened to have around, and it was just a great pickup to come in and kind of round your collection out a little bit.
He's gonna look real good behind me.
Oh my God, I saw Tumbleweed. It just blew through my collection, Tumbleweeds. But I can fill another one of those holes on the shelf because this was my part of the deal with Dominic.
Oh, dude.
Yes, this is a really cool. Let me see if I can get it to focus.
Yeah.
It's a Marvel Legends Punisher that comes with a motorcycle.
That is outstanding. I know you love
Yeah.
the Punisher, and he's got that classic Punisher skull too.
Yeah, and I love this figure. I don't know what's up with the helmet, but he comes with various weapons for administering Frank's version of justice, which includes and exceeds up to maiming with a hatchet, beating with a baseball bat, killing with a sawed-off shotgun, or more humane treatment of today's criminals with just putting them down with a gun. So it's a terrific figure. The head sculpts are all beat to crap, just like that great Garth Ennis run of the Punisher Max series, which was terrific. So that was my side of the deal. I wanted this, and Dominic kicked in that Merman just because he was so excited that he wants to come on and podcast with us, and he's got tons to say. And the fact I found those figures for him really made a difference.
I'm looking forward to meeting him.
But we're not done there.
We're not. Oh, what else you got?
Oh, actually,
oh, you found those bad boys.
I did. Yep. Amazon came back into stock. So I think I paid about $11 a piece for them. I want to say they're $10.99 in the store. So it's pretty.
That's very close.
Pretty consistent.
Off, yeah.
And this is the same Wolverine that I showed from the Jean Grey Wolverine 2-pack. Only this is the brown Wolverine. So he's short and squatty. You can kind of put him next to Venom and see that Venom's a good head taller than him. So terrific figures. My complaint is that when it came packaged, and I got creases along the top of it. You can see that there. Yep. And then creases along the side. They're sending me a replacement. So I just got to take this thing over to my local Kohl's. Amazon does this great thing where they send you a return authorization, and they've got agents that'll pack it up and send it back. So I'm going to take this to my local Kohl's and turn it in as soon as I get my replacement, which is coming here in another day or two. But hey, great figure. Extremely hard to find right now. Like, they're getting picked off really quick. And of course, who do you think the one guy we know that finds them? Bryson, 100%.
Bryson, yep.
Yeah, so those came to get the free shipping. I had this one thrown in. I think I got him for like $6.99. Not super overwhelming, but if I had to pick one, it's either pay like $10 in shipping or pay $8 for a free figure and don't have
might as well go with the figure. He'll be a good like a stock warmer, like a peg warmer for behind your other figures, right?
Yeah, to bulk it out a little bit. But wait, there's more.
Oh man.
So I've been waiting for this package to show up for a little bit. And what I got in the mail, I want to say it was Saturday morning, or maybe it was Friday afternoon.
Oh, Silverbolt. Is that one of the China?
This is a Chinese reissue.
Nice.
On a brand new, glossy, crisp box. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
that's
my
awesome.
ring cam, my little halo thing is showing on it tremendously.
That's
So,
good. Look how great that looks.
oh, it looks great. It's going to display like a mother humper.
Oh my
So
gosh,
I
that
got
is so
Silverbolt.
cool.
Oh, and who comes with Silverbolt?
Well, his other aerial bots, of
Other
course.
aerial bots. Yep. And it's not a party until you got all 5. So
Dude,
these are absolutely killer, absolutely killer knockoffs.
dude,
The
that's
cardstock
worth
is,
every penny.
it is. Yep. I mean, I wish that this was the stuff that we were getting on the shelf at Walmart. Unfortunately, it isn't. I think they're worried. No, I don't know if this is duplicate tooling created off of existing figures or what, but they just look terrific. And if you open them up, they're gonna play just like the original Transformers. So why in the world? Why in the world are we not getting them?
I don't know.
So
What
wait,
was the
there's
shipping
more.
time on that?
Oh, about 3.5 weeks, something like that.
That's actually really good. Oh my gosh. Dude, your shelves are going to be so beautiful.
Yes. So there's Motor Master.
And of course, you've got the other.
Yep. He brings his rowdy friends with him.
Oh my gosh. All of his Stunticons. Drag strip
These are
and
great.
dead end.
I mean, they're going to hang on the pegs, and I'm going to have the other boxed figures down there. But and this is so, we've seen these like really poor quality knockoffs of some of the combiners, and they're missing their limbs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you'd have Nose Cone or something subbed in with a Minosaur because one of the guys was missing. But these are the original characters. I mean, that's the molds.
Dude, they look just like they did right back in the day. I mean, there's nothing. This is exactly what Hasbro should be giving us.
Yeah. Yep. And that these basic $4.99 figures when they're out back in the day, these are going to be $20 a piece if they would just put them out and retail them. Yeah. And they would get the $20. And the big deluxe figures would be $39.99 a piece. And you could get it all day long for them. They would sell right through Walmart. That's how you can get a $60 Soundwave. That's how you can fleece people for $60 for an Optimus Prime cab.
Yeah, with no trailer.
With no trailer. Yeah, shame on you. As always, I'll never stop kicking that dead horse. So, holy cow. Big haul for Steve.
That was a great reveal, man.
Yeah,
a good haul.
Consider myself very lucky to be able to get these things and add them to the collection. Someday when I find a house to buy up here, they'll go in one hell of a display.
Oh, I know.
I'll make sure to make a video to share it all.
It'll be so cool. Can't wait to see all of it finally come all together for you.
Me too. I'm pretty jazzed about it. So
that's cool.
That's the reveals. We got the news knocked out. We're going to go to our discussion topic of the day. And I actually really like this. This was a great idea that you had. So we've all seen a franchise grow and evolve over time, right? Mm-hmm. And it starts off and you've got your core characters and then changes get made at some point, and inevitably they always introduce new characters. Well, some new characters are better than other new characters. Mm-hmm. So today's discussion topic is what new characters sucked, brought nothing to it.
Well, it doesn't even need to be new characters. It can just be what characters brought absolutely nothing to the table in the franchise from which they are from.
Yeah, I mean, was their whole point to be just a hostage, a plot device to alienate the fans?
Who knows?
Well, we do have a list of characters that we can discuss today.
Yep.
And I love the term "shit the bed." They didn't just shit the bed; they shit themselves out of the bed. They like up and out, like a slip and slide of bad bed shitting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to start this one off.
Right.
I'm gonna start this one off with a preface of this character comes from one of my all-time favorite movie franchises. Okay, it's especially it's the original trilogy Star Wars, and I absolutely love it. But I feel that this character brings nothing to the story, and that is Mr. Goldenrod himself, C-3PO.
Oh, that's interesting that you go C-3PO. Okay.
C-3PO. Other than his complaining about everything, he was really supposed to be there as a translator for R2D2, but since most humans can understand beeps and squeaks in that universe anyway, it felt like he was really not needed. R2D2 carried the stolen plans to the Death Star, and C-3PO just merely tagged along for the ride. I feel like he didn't do anything. In Empire Strikes Back, even more so, he was there to quote the odds and kind of piss off Han Solo. In Return of the Jedi, he was interpreted as a golden god. Maybe that's probably his most important role in the original trilogy.
He was living his best droid life there.
But other than that one minor little thing that he did in Return of the Jedi, the rest of C-3PO's presence really you could have done without it, and the movie would have been just fine.
So do you think that he was put in the movie as a grounding point to all of the fantastical crap that was happening around him? You know, like to offer us the perspective of the average viewer, like an entry point into the movie when he's, you know, frightened or like, oh my God, this is so absurd. Do you think that was the whole point of having him in there, was to offer an entry point for people, some character that we could be like, yeah, it is. What is all this crazy
I think
stuff?
that was mainly a secondary thought. I know that R2D2 and C-3PO were in the story because that's how George envisioned the characters from the Hidden Fortress, that a lot of that stuff was based off on. Mm-hmm. So the two bumbling idiots that kind of make their way through the adventure of the Hidden Fortress, and that's what C-3PO and R2D2 were supposed to be. So was he an entry point character? Yeah, I mean, he was the closest thing to the human type character that we had at the very beginning of the movie, and that's who we were experiencing a lot of the stuff through. But I think if it was just R2D2, we would have had the same experience.
Probably. And I think probably one of the things, like C-3PO is a total coward, like a wimp. Yep. And his voice is British as hell.
It is. Well, you know, it's space fiction, so it's got to be British. Apparently, we all speak in a British accent in the future or the past. Whenever we're in space, we got to have a British accent.
But you know, it's sort of an American thing when we hear like, "Oh, I'm going to put a bow on a little pony." You know, like it doesn't really like scream, "Get it done."
No. But as far as, you know, do I love C-3PO? Yeah, I do. I love him. I love him to death. I love the look of him. I think he's cool. He's a really good Star Wars icon. Good for branding. Good for all that other good stuff. You know, he sells toys. He sells all these other great things. So I mean, he's, for what he is, he's good. But I think story-wise, plot-wise, he did nothing for the first two movies.
Well, and maybe that's why Droids lasted 13 episodes.
Maybe why. I do remember not liking that cartoon either.
Oh, what a stinker that cartoon was.
All right, that was my first one. What's your first one?
Well, you really surprised me with that one, but I know that this one is on both of our lists. When we're looking at a beloved franchise that's making changes for the sake of selling toys. Mm-hmm. Sometimes your new characters are very cool, like Springer, NRC, and Ultra Magnus, and Blur, and Cup, and to a somewhat lesser extent, I actually really like Hot Rod.
He gets a lot of crap, but he's actually pretty cool.
But I like him. He was like the embodiment of 80s youth that wanted to rebel against this, trying to do his best and trying to find his place in the world. But for all of those great characters, Cyclonus, Scourge, Galvatron, you get a wheelie thrown in there.
I knew you were going with that one. He's on my list.
And boy, oh boy, I gotta tell you, if you ever wanted a character that doesn't do crap, like take all the good things from Bumblebee
And throw him out the
strip
window.
them away, throw them into the garbage, and then, as if that's not bad enough, you're left with this like totally incapable character who's not even a spy, who's not overly brave, but he's like the
Who has no
precursor to
specialties
Lightning
whatsoever.
Rappers. Yeah, he's like the Vanilla Ice, but like less badass of Transformers.
And on top of that, he talks in rhyme.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
It's like, why? Not even cool rhyme like Roadblock from G.I. Joe.
you say, find friends today.
He talks in the stupid rhymes. Oh,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and he did absolutely nothing. He brought zero to it other than like, well, I guess if we need a hostage, that's it.
But would we go back and save him? I mean, look at the toy even. The toy was a letdown. Out of the whole line of figures and characters that came out of the movie, Wheelie was like, what was that? He didn't even look right. Didn't even look like he fit with the train. He looked like he fit with the GoBots, not the Transformers.
Yeah, that was some of that like co-op engineering that happened after they ran out of Diaclone figures to snatch up and put in Transformers. So, I mean, he's like probably right in there with Broadside.
That one. So,
and I gotta say, man, those throttle bots. Their arms don't even move forward.
And their transform consists of this. Boom.
Yeah, and then their arms are back. You still have to do that part. So really, I guess they should have been called target masters because they just look like rolling targets to shoot at.
Like Optimus Prime gets on the battlefield against Megatron and he calls these guys out. Throttlebots to the front.
Throttlebots, give us cover. Oh God, I hope I live. What's your name again?
No, you're just Throttlebots. Go.
What's your name again? I don't know, Dumpster. I don't know what the name is. Goldbug, which was kind of a cool design. But then you just had these like really, they looked like chibi figures.
They did not look right. I did not like that. I have a Throttlebot, and he's back in a drawer somewhere. He doesn't count.
Yeah, they're pretty horrendous. They didn't learn their lesson with those the white and wow, the white and black Decepticon pullback cars. Do you remember them? I don't remember.
What was that? Runamuck and Runabout.
Battle Chargers or something they call them.
Which both of those got really good updates in the War for Cybertron line.
They did
really good.
Yeah, thank God, because those original toys were just like blown up versions of the Throttlebots.
No good.
So yeah, Wheelie, you strip away everything awesome about Bumblebee and just leave the crap behind, and that's what you get with Wheelie. And they probably kept him in because Frank Welker needed another job.
Wheelie is the butt of every Transformer joke, and I don't mind hating on Wheelie. I don't like Wheelie.
Even his name is stupid.
Yeah, I'll hate on Wheelie all day, every day. He's fine. I'm like not a Wheelie lover.
That's an annoying little brother Transformer name.
Yeah. All right.
Who do you got?
All right. Well, I'm going to stick in the Star Wars frame of mind here, real quick, and give another Star Wars character. It's not an original trilogy character now. This is the sequel trilogy character. And my, oh my, can I pick a lot of them. But I chose one. Captain Phasma.
I think that Captain Phasma had everything right going for her.
On paper.
Except for the writing.
No, let's look at all the things that she had going for her. She had cool armor, mysterious background, apparently like a right-hand man / person to the main baddie. I mean, she had a lot of stuff going for her.
Yeah, played by Gwendolyn Christie, who
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
is this big, like intimidating looking 6 foot tall,
Yep.
like
Like they
glamazon
said, I said, they shit the bed.
completely.
That character was a complete and total letdown. And like I
Yeah.
said, I'm not a big sequel trilogy fan anyway, but if I had to pick one character that was like the most horrific, useless, no good character out of that whole thing, it's Captain Phasma.
Well, it was just
And
missed
that's sad.
opportunity. I mean, it's the complete Boba Fett syndrome where this character is played up to be a complete and total badass,
Yeah.
has a good look, has all the right like action figure design type
Yeah,
look to the
yeah.
character, and
Should have
then
been a home run.
they write her to like scowl under her helmet and then fall in a hole.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, like actually, just as bad as Boba Fett from the original trilogy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
She got captured and gave up the secrets right away, right? Like she gave him access to the base, and you basically got beat by the janitor. So I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you did nothing for this story. You did nothing for this. You were a complete useless character.
Yeah, it didn't. They expositioned their way out of it. Oh, she gave up the secret. Didn't even have a sequence or anything where like Chewbacca was like tearing her arm out of the socket, or
show the cool stuff on screen, please. Can we see that?
Yeah, and then she goes out really easy.
Yeah,
I would have loved to just see her like get killed off in each of these movies and come back the next movie, and you're like, what? How did she survive that? But instead was nope, just completely like punked out and gotten rid of by a character.
That battle she had with Finn was just a complete letdown.
Junk. Yeah.
In a long string of letdowns, but I'm not going to go that route. I'm not going to go on the sequel trilogy tirade, focusing on Captain Phasma as a useless character, and that was my bit.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to stick with Transformers because the only character just as annoying as Wheelie, maybe to a slightly lesser degree, is our new entry point from the human perspective into Transformers Season 3, Daniel.
Yeah.
So you had Spike, who was a teenager, right? And Bumblebee. And you had a human perspective when you looked at Spike's dialogue or you heard his dialogue, a human's perspective of the craziness that's happening around them.
Mm-hmm.
And Spike's a teenager. So the dialogue has a little bit better maturity level to it, and it didn't like dumb down to like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Now you fast forward, and Spike is one feature film and a naughty word away from being like a Flint from G.I. Joe now. And we're left with Daniel, who is now written from the perspective of like a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And him and Wheelie suck so hard.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
those
of that.
Two characters together. And Daniel is just a straight jabroni. That kid, I mean, it's almost like you've got your audience, right? That in 1984-ish, when the cartoons came out, they're 6-7 years old, and they're 10 years old when the movie comes out. They don't need the perspective of a 5-year-old anymore.
No.
Those kids, and already kids were a bit more mature anyways back then for what they could handle and what was presented to them on television and in the media.
Yep.
It wasn't like, softened up for today's audience like some of this stuff is. I mean, it was a little harder edged and kids could handle it better back then. So you really took a big back step on your entry point into Transformers. And I cannot name a single thing that Daniel did that helped anybody. It's Ultra Magnus's birthday. Let's go get into trouble.
Oh gosh. Didn't he stumble, or I can't remember if it wasn't him, or I can't remember, in the episode where Prime returns where he's a zombie and he's got his programming all maxed. This is one way they were trying to bring back Prime. Was Daniel the one to like figure out the stupid little lock on his thing, or I can't remember.
No,
I know he was in
no, he just walks in there. He walks in there and Optimus Prime's tomb is open.
Oh, that's right. So he didn't even do anything
significant
there.
The only thing he did is just name off some dead Autobots that were in the mausoleum, reminding us of very cool toys that have been discontinued in favor of Broadside and Wheelie. So yeah, he brought absolutely nothing to the table. And he had this extremely strange relationship with RC by the time you got into the Rebirth episodes.
Okay.
So like RC is written from a 30-year-old woman's perspective, and it's like this parental but sort of like romantic kind of bond that the two of them have.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that weird crap.
I'm sorry, man. I love David Wise. He wrote some great stories. He was responsible for the origin story for Optimus Prime, but in Rebirth, his characterization of RC and Daniel was like almost pedophilic.
A little bit. It had that little bit of vibe to it. I could agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not some like hardcore, hard-nosed guy that you know, thumps a book for you to read, but even I thought that was a bit creepy and uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Daniel Witwicky is not the best Witwicky character. I really liked. Now, when we talk about character, I liked Sparkplug.
Yeah.
And I thought that they should have done more with that duo of Sparkplug and Spike. I felt that they kind of they filled that human role really well, because they can help them with what it is that they knew, how they were able to move around, you know, the world, get the Autobots involved in all that fun stuff. But Daniel just was too young and included on too many adventures that should not have included a kid as young as he was. And I also feel that way about when we go further into the Transformers line of animated, and we get into Transformers Armada, and we talk about the little group of kids that stumble upon the Autobots and all of these things. And it's like, man, they I don't know. The writing, I don't know why they have to focus around, if they're going to write about kids, why they've got to be so young, or why they've got to be written like, if you're a 10 to 13-year-old, why do you got to be written like a 5-year-old? I don't understand that. It just,
yeah, they're pretty awful. And they just like bring them along on these dangerous scenarios so that they have someone to rescue.
Yeah, they end up being more of a problem than anything else. I mean, most of the stories wouldn't even have a plot if it wasn't for the stupid kids getting into trouble and doing something stupid. So anyway,
so we've been hard on Daniel. Who do you got next that we can eviscerate?
Well, let me see. You already stole my thunder with Wheelie, so we're going to move on to G.I. Joe. All right.
I know where this is going.
I've got a couple to choose from in G.I. Joe. I'm trying to figure out which one do I want to start with. Do I want to go the obvious route, or do I want to go the less obvious route? Okay, I'm going to go the less obvious route. And maybe I'll let you have the one or two that I think you're going to take from me. But I'll start this one off with Chuckles.
Chuckles?
Chuckles, whose only defining anything in the cartoon was ripping a missile off of a Havoc and throwing it.
Yeah.
And then offering a salute. I think that was probably in a series of over the top scenes of a great movie. That was probably one of the most over the top scene, except for the Big Lob narrating his entire run through the obstacle course. But yeah,
Big Lob too. That was on my list.
Is he on your list? Yeah. But I just decided, well, I want to start off with Chuckles, because after that, what has Chuckles done? Now in the comics, Chuckles actually played an important role. He got close to Cobra Commander. He was, infiltrated Cobra, did a lot of things that a spy, you would expect a master spy to do. In the cartoon, no, Chuckles was a waste of time. And by the way,
he was
who voiced him?
Let me guess, Frank Welker on that one too.
The no voiced character? Sure. Yeah, we'll give it to Frank.
Yeah, he breathed into the mic. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. He pretty much sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, at least he didn't open his mouth and make him more hateable. At least he didn't lean into the stereotype. Like Big Lob.
Like Big Lob. Yeah, Big Lob is a letdown of a character.
I mean, the guy.
It's like
In
they
one
couldn't get the
sense-
fridge, so they went, we'll create a character called Big Glob, I guess.
Well, and I mean, that's like they could have called him like Fast Break or something like that, like Big
Yeah.
Lob.
Yeah,
That is a
point guard
stupid name to
or
begin
something
with.
really cool, right?
Nose tackle, touchdown. I don't know what you want to call him. Some cool ass sports name. Big
Captain Gridiron, perhaps.
That's hey, at least you got something out of that one. So yeah, Big Lob just we they wanted to make him interesting, and I think that he was the primary focus of all of the new characters. By giving him so many lines in the movie, they wanted Big Lob so hard, but the kids, I don't know what it was.
Well, he didn't get a figure, that's for sure.
No, he didn't. He's the only one.
Yeah.
Like the other ones got the figures.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, did they see it when they were screening it, and people responded so poorly to the initial screenings that they're like, nope.
No figure for this guy.
I don't really know what the story is there, but I just don't think kids get the concept. Like you're in these ages of like 6 and 10 years old, right?
Yep.
Are many kids that deep into sports? Maybe some. But
At that time, I could, the Chicago Bears were pretty, pretty good. They were winning Super Bowls. Chicago Bulls were doing good.
But is there that crossover audience? So like when you're a kid,
not a lot.
It's one thing to look and accept soldiers that all look like with their cool different decos and stuff, right? They're all soldiers. Are you really, is the sports guy the one that you want to watch, or do you want to watch somebody like Beachhead?
Well, I
You
think
want to watch a ninja.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I think what they were trying to go for was, Bazooka was a figure that everybody loved, as a character that everybody loved. Even though he wore a sports shirt, he didn't talk in sports, genre. He didn't do anything like that. I mean, he was just a big lug who carried around a bazooka and he could hit things, right? So,
yeah. Plus, he was kind of dumb.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, he kind of felt like the everyday kind of guy who got to join the GI Joe team. And I think they kind of looked at the success of the bazooka figure and were like, whoa, well, let's throw in another kind of sports attributed kind of character. And I don't know if the Big Log came before or after the inclusion of the Fridge as the special mail away character, but even the Fridge was kind of a letdown. He was only the mail away character. He was in charge of like the physical instructor or something like that for GI Joe.
I was gonna say he sits in the mess hall and decides what Roadblock cooked is good or bad.
Yeah, I don't know what his actual job was, but I would almost go in to say that the Fridge was even more useless than Big Lob, but I don't know.
Yeah, but
their inclusion of sports in the GI Joe was kind of not good. It was not a good idea.
The Fridge never even got introduced in the cartoons, right? Mm-hmm. Now Big Lob comes in and he's got like 60 lines or whatever it is in the movie, and you barely get anything out of a cool character like Tunnel Rat.
Yeah.
Law and Order. Jinx got some lines, and then Chuckles, who could have been something because Miami Vice was a thing at the time, with no lines. So Big Lob gets all these lines, and there was just, I don't know if they tried too hard or if it was just a really bad melding of concepts.
I think that's what it was.
The designers or the muckety mucks did too much blow that day and decided that like the sports guy that would be really good. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's going to be a great idea.
Well, but he kind of fit a stereotype too that I felt was kind of not the way to go with that kind of character. I felt that was I think it did more to hurt things than to do what they were trying to do. So
yeah, that was like taking a character like Jitsu and leaning in even harder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Big Lob is a big disappointment. All right, sticking with GI Joe. which one do I flip a coin? Scoop.
That was next. That was my other one. Yeah.
Scoop is another one of the letdown figures that did nothing for the thing. He had one breakout episode, I think, where he was a reporter and doing something, and then he kept his secrets for them and then joined G.I. Joe. I can't really remember because it really wasn't that interesting of a character to me to begin with.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Operation Dragonfire.
Was
when
it?
You had the Python Patrol and Cobra Commander came back, and you had Sergeant Slaughter and some of the Marauders, which was weird. They didn't do Tiger Force versus Python Patrol.
That would have been the best way to go. But either way, we got Scoop out of that whole adventure. And, you know, I mean, when we look at the character, what accessories does he got? Oh,
camera.
A camera. Oh, a backpack with radar dish. What is? And his character, you know, his colors didn't even fit. Like, I'm gonna go out into the field of battle and record everything. Give me the brightest damn colors you can throw on me.
Bright yellow and green. Yeah.
Oh yeah, not a good character, and we could have done without him.
Yeah, not at all.
Unfortunately, I have to have him because I'm a completionist for the old line, and so I've got him. But he begrudgingly got him, and he's added to my collection.
Even Lightfoot was better.
Lightfoot, I actually kind of liked Lightfoot.
I mean, if Psych Out wasn't that bad, then Scoop would be the worst figure that they ever did.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, that's like Voltar.
You said Psych Out, right? Because he was next on my list.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean
not Psych Out. DJ, sorry. Oh, I just blow the whole thing there. Let's talk about both of them, Psych Out and DJ. They were like kind of worthless characters. DJ was an afterthought, right? Like, we have the Battle Force 5000, and these guys were all released, and we're like, oh, maybe we need to round them out. Diversity reasons. DJ. Oh, let's fit another stereotype that we should have done.
Okay, so I am unfamiliar with his bio. If you tell me that he is the official record scratcher for Battle Force 2000, then shame on Hasbro.
He knows radio equipment. That's his thing.
Fine. Whatever. You know, Battle Force 2000 came and went. When I was a kid, I always loved the commercials, right? Because they're so intense. And they always sing about what's on there. You can run, but you can't hide. You're going to squirm when he gets inside. Battle Force 2000.
Talk about the letdown of a century. Okay, so Battle Force 5000 or Battle Force 2000. All of the characters had big, stupid accessories. The only one out of all of them that was even remotely even kind of interesting was his Dodger. Was that his name?
Yeah, he's kind of cool looking.
I mean, he kind of has a Space Marine look to him, so we'll give him a pass. But everybody else, garbage. Their vehicles
didn't Dodger come with that like god awful rocket launcher thing with the handle
on the handle?
Yeah, and the handle was wide. You tried to put that in your figure's hands, and it popped their thumbs right off.
Yeah. Yep. And then he had of course, the microphone that always popped off the side of his head and lost and gone. But then their vehicles were touted as these cool things that combine and can make this big. They didn't combine. You placed them next to them. They didn't connect.
They didn't connect together?
No, they just sat next to each other.
Oh my God. I mean, it's bad enough that it was like combine them to form the ultimate square of vehicles. No. What's it do? Who drives it?
Nothing. And they didn't connect. They just sat next to each other. Letdown. Biggest
okay.
Letdown. It was a horrible. In fact, we're just going to lump everybody into Battle Force 2000. That was all of a letdown. And I think they all died in the comic.
Okay. I got one that's hopping away from Joe.
All right. We'll leave the Joe bug alone.
Jason Todd as Robin.
Oh. So Jeff is a huge Batman conspiracy theorist. He may have something to say against that one. But okay, what's your reason?
Well, Jason Todd became something really cool. He became the Red Hood.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you want to talk about the most rejected idea in comic book history. Dick Grayson, beloved sidekick of Batman, grows up and becomes badass Nightwing in Bloodhaven, right? So we're going to replace Robin, but we're going to get the most asshole-ish, selfish, self-centered character we possibly can. He's going to be a handful. He's not going to listen to Batman. He's going to have violent tendencies.
Yeah.
Let's see if this works.
Until they introduce the character Damian Wayne.
Damian, yeah, he's a dick too. But like Jason Todd is the original dick. so unliked by comic book fans that they cook up the idea. Well, let's do this poll.
Yep,
Should we kill Robin off?
Yep.
And
who gets killed?
I don't remember what the results were, but it was overwhelming to get rid of him.
Yeah, it was between him and Jason Todd's mom. Right.
And he was just so like disliked because you had Robin, who might not have agreed with Batman's methods all the time, or he was growing up and he's becoming a good man, but you replaced Robin with this total douche. And that was one of the hardest landings for a comic book character ever, was Jason Todd, and he did not last. Thankfully, they came up with some really good ideas on how to utilize the character down the road and came up with Red Hood, which is a very compelling character. But well, Jason Todd's initial run, bleh.
Jason Todd serves one purpose for me, and that it gives Batman that other tragic reason for doing what he does and why he doesn't like to include people in what he does. So Jason Todd is that one failure of Batman that always kind of sticks with him, right? So the character, yes, I agree that he's a jerk of a character. He was not very well liked, but he did play one important role for Batman, and that was that he was Batman's failure.
Well, if you got to get him pissed off about something other than his parents, I guess it was his little sidekick who should have never come along.
Yep. Yeah, you need to sit and talk with Mr. Jeff Lincoln sometime. He's got some interesting.
Congratulations, Jason Todd.
What was that?
Yeah. I said, congratulations, Jason Todd. You're a plot device.
You're a plot device. Yep. Yeah. All right. Okay, I'm going to break away from DC, and I'm going to move into Masters of the Universe.
Yeah.
All right.
I know where this one's going.
So another one of these lines that we can say are filled with some pretty useless characters, gimmicky characters, I guess you could say. But and this one might surprise you. Okay, so he's another one of my characters that I actually really like. I love him, but he doesn't do anything for me in terms of story or anything like that. And that falls down to poor Mr. Orko. I think Orko is, all of the problems that Orko has ever been involved with have all been his own creations. All of his things that he's ever done has created more problems for his friends than helped. I'm not saying that I'm not a fan of Orko. I actually do like Orko. I think he's kind of a fun guy. He's an interesting character in the thing where he comes from and stuff. But I feel like if Orko was not there, some of the stories would played out a whole lot differently. And I think Orko would kind of brings this what do you call it, like a levity or a lightness to some of the things, where maybe that's what the purpose of Orko was. And if we didn't have Orko, maybe Masters of the Universe could have been a little bit more darker, who knows. But Orko is one of those characters type for me that I'm just not, he's neither here nor there in terms of plot and story.
Well, I think that Orko, so we gotta, when we're talking about Masters, you're kind of talking about breaking new ground. You know, these cartoons that can finally be made from toy lines, kids' toys. Maybe you're right that he was there to lighten it up for the kids. But, he did one good thing that I can remember. When He-Man thought that he killed somebody and he renounced his the sword, and he threw the sword down the hole at Castle Grayskull, Orko found it and brought it back to him. So I mean, that was like his one shining moment that he did. But maybe in some of the later stuff, the MYP, you know, the 2000X, he did do a really good job of bringing a human element, you know, this entry point of somebody who was in over their head.
Sure.
But in the original Masters, yeah, I agree. I don't think that he really did a lot other than get into trouble. But you know, he also did set a really bad pace for like the crappy sidekicks, like Snarf,
Snarf, Snarf,
Lionel.
Oh man,
get into trouble. Snarf, Snarf.
Oh yeah, I Orko later on in some. I actually, you know, I really like the He-Man 2000s, the Masters of the Universe. That was actually a really good series, and had a pretty good storyline that ran through the whole thing. So I was actually okay with that one, but I was strictly talking the Filmation era.
Yeah, I think I will tend to agree with you. He's not high on my list for bad characters, but you know, he really didn't bring much to the story, anyways. Nothing that couldn't have been done with you know, with
Teela or Man at Arms or Cringer, for crying out loud. You could have done the same thing. So
yeah. Yep.
All right, what do you got?
I'm gonna call back an obscure one.
Oh boy.
But you're gonna know exactly what I mean when I say this name. Venus.
Oh, from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
The fifth turtle.
Talk about force feeding a concept to the audience. I mean, like jamming it down their throats. And by this time, your Ninja Turtle audience is in their pre-teens and early teens. And that was just a forced on you. The idea is okay, but it was forced upon the audience and summarily rejected.
And in that damn show, it had the, you know, like I said, on paper, some things sound really cool, right? And then when you put it into practice, when you put it into in physical, it's just like, whoa, what the heck were we thinking? That's Venus. Look, I think the idea was good on paper.
Yeah, did it have to be another turtle? Why not another mutant of some kind?
I don't know. Didn't make sense for it to be a turtle. But hey, you know, I didn't like... so apparently that universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, do cross over with the Power Rangers.
It's Saban product.
And we knew that was, you know, that happens because they're from the same production company. But still, when you're talking about wonky fighting kid shows, Power Rangers is at the top of the list. Oh, but wait, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles can one up you. We need 5, not 4, so we need a girl.
What was that series called anyways? It was like What the Shell?
I don't know. That's what we should call it. I don't know what it was called. Oh, the next mutation. That's what it was called. Teenage Mutant Turtles, the next mutation. And it was garbage. It was garbage. It was no good.
Yeah. Also,
I apologize. I am having a wind rainstorm that is crazy. I don't know if you can hear it on my microphone, but it's oh my gosh, Steve, you do not miss these from the Tri-Cities, let me tell you.
No, I had a deluge last night, but I can't hear it. Your mic's not picking it up.
Okay,
it sounds
it's really like slamming against my window. Okay, did you get to share one? Or no, wait, you did. Okay, so here's
that was Venus.
Yep, back to the Masters of the Universe, and this is another one that I think. Okay, we're talking Filmation era, only the Filmation cartoon, not the actual character, or maybe what he was portrayed in, maybe some of the mini comics or things like that. Just the Filmation and Beastman.
Yeah,
Beastman was such a letdown of a character. Yeah, his toy was so cool looking and everything, you know, and he was like, I could control the beasts, and he felt like a character that could stand up to one of the most powerful men in the universe, He-Man, right? And then he gets on to Filmation and he's what? Skeletor's bootlicker? Mr. Skeletor's yes man?
The only thing he could do is awkwardly grab people from behind.
Yeah. Yes, all right, Skeletor. What'd you say, Beastman? Nothing, Skeletor.
I should have had you neutered.
Well, this version definitely felt like he was, because he did not do anything that was remotely even cool or beastmanish in any way in the cartoon. I think every once in a while he may have controlled telepathically some animals, but then I'm looking at some of the creatures that fight for Skeletor, like Merman. Did you not have control over Merman, or what? Is that only work for some animals? I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I agree. What did he? The best he could do is conjure some shadow beasts.
Yeah, I mean,
cause
he
a
like
little
controlled some
ruckus.
weird Eternian whales at one point, I think. I don't know. Beastman
Yeah.
was useless to me in the cartoon.
But most of them were pretty useless. Triclops and Trapjaw, some
Very
of the
true.
coolest designed bad guys you could have ever had. But maybe victim of the show, not
Yeah, but
knowing
then
what
you
you
look at like
can.
their mini comic origins, and you're like, whoa, like Triclops was a badass, and Trapjaw was even more just wow. And then like the cartoon came out, and you're like, okay, I know I'm only, how old was I when that thing came out? 7 years old, but I know that these things aren't right.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay.
I think
So I got another one reaching
all
kind
right.
of deep here, but I think you'll probably agree with me. The next choice is my son, David. David from Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock, Captain Kirk's curly blonde-haired kid. What did David do other than piss and moan about the Federation?
He had the
And mope?
coolest death sound. I know that. When that Klingon stabbed him, he went, whoa, that was kind of cool.
I mean, at least he didn't get the phaser thing where they like, when they're
man, that Klingon
incinerated.
shoved his knife into him, and he went like, I don't know, it was like a throw up in your throat. It's kind of. And that's the sad thing that I'll always remember about David, other than the awkward hug at the very end of Wrath of Khan.
Yeah. Kirk's like,
Come here. Yeah, I'm gonna go, Dad. See, that was.
I mean,
yeah.
he really, all he did was piss and moan.
Yep.
That was
I
it.
agree.
And he got to bear witness to some of the most Captain Kirk moments ever. And all David did was complain the whole time.
Yeah.
All he was there was to allow William Shatner to say, Klingon bastards killed my son.
Killed my son, Klingon bastards. Although I will have to say, so Star Trek 2 is my favorite all-time Star Trek movie ever, right? I love that movie. But I do like, so and Star Trek 3 was right, it was okay, but it does have one of the best lines in all of Star Trek, where he's fighting the Klingon captain on the edge of the ravine as the world is falling apart, and he's got him hanging off of his boot, and he's like, I have had enough of you. Kicks him into the ravine. I love that line. I'll play that over and over and over.
Yeah. And when the Klingon's falling, he's like, Great Scott!
Great Scott!
Yeah, I did not like that character.
He falls and he does his Jim from Taxi. He's like, Kirk, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but David is a very useless character. Agreed.
Even Savick thought that he was a total wuss bag. He's hanging out with Savick, and she's like, David, logic dictates you would grow a pair.
I love how she tells Kirk that he died too. David is dead.
Yeah.
No emotion. David is
You've
dead.
got to be goddamn kidding me.
He's like, damn it, I did not want to hear Savick's voice.
No, but when he heard that, he was probably thinking that David just fell off the rocks to his death. But no, he had some help.
You got to go back and listen to that sound.
I
All
will.
right, okay, I have one more, and this is the end of my list.
Okay.
And this one, I don't know if you've heard it before, but it's definitely one that has been floating around the internet for many, many years, and I am a firm believer of this one. Jeff and I have had many discussions on this. The one of the ultimate useless characters is a character named, his movie is named after him, and he's useless. The events of this movie would have happened without him in the same order in which they happened. So that is
Okay.
Indiana Jones. And here's the reason why. So Indiana Jones, famed, renowned artifact finder, a grave robber, whatever you want to call him, on the trail of the Ark. He's trying to get it up before the Nazis. Nazis find the hidden place where it is, the Well of Souls. They find it. They would have found it eventually with how they were digging and their patterns and their statistics revealed that they would have hit that point eventually. So they didn't need Indiana Jones to find the Ark for them. They would have found it. They recovered the Ark from Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones tried to retake it, didn't happen. They still took it to the island. So, and without Indiana Jones, they would have opened the Ark anyway, and they would have destroyed themselves. So the story resolves itself, and you could have taken Indiana Jones completely out of this story, and it still would have happened the way that it happened.
I see what you're saying there, but I'm not allowed to touch Harrison Ford.
Oh, okay. But that doesn't say that Temple of Doom or Last Crusade were not Indiana Jones centric, because the third one definitely needed his interactions.
You know what? I'm gonna disagree, because once that cup crossed the seal, the place started coming apart. No, it would have sucked the Nazis in. They wouldn't have known any better.
True. Yeah, they would have. But would they have been able to make use of the book the way that Indiana Jones did, because he had intricate knowledge with his dad? Who knows? But I felt that one, it was a little bit better. The first movie, and you could look at all of the plot points and remove Indiana Jones completely from the story, and all of those things would have happened no matter what.
I hear you. I hear you.
So when I'm talking like useless to the plot, he was useless to the plot of his own story.
That's true. That I see what you're saying. Still one of my favorite of all time, but
I'll watch Indiana Jones.
You are correct.
I'll watch Raiders of the Lost Ark any time of the day, and I'll love every minute of it. But
I think that Last Crusade, it would have eventually happened that way. There would have been enough heads rolling down the steps. Yeah, they would have eventually figured out those archaic tricks, and
yep.
They would have had bodies upon bodies picking the cup.
Maybe this one. Nope. Maybe this one. Nope. Okay, bring in the next batch. We're going to get through all these cups.
Okay. Yeah, I see where you're going. It makes good sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end mine with what I thought was like one of the biggest cash grabs, phoned in performances, useless to the movie, and that would be the last two Transformers movies featuring Mark Wahlberg. The guy did nothing.
Yeah.
He patched up Optimus Prime a little bit, which I don't know how a human repairs Cybertronian technology. We just don't, we don't look at them. But you talk about a crappy, useless character, 100%. He did nothing but he was not there to do anything but wear a tight shirt.
He barely played Mark Wahlberg. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, he knew he was in a brainless Michael Bay movie with no acting required and no investment at all. And he collected his paycheck, and that was it.
People were not there to see Mark Wahlberg. They were there to see Optimus Prime fight Megatron.
I guess.
But even then, that didn't work. So
I think I've seen those movies approximately once. I didn't even see them in the theater. I watched them when they came out, like on DVD or whatever. Mm-hmm. By that time, I was so turned off by it. I was still buying the toys, but Those are just bad movies.
Yeah.
And yeah, you want to talk useless. Mark Wahlberg brought nothing.
Yeah. It's there. Well, those movies brought nothing other than Transformer brand awareness. I mean, the movies themselves were not very well written, not
Yeah.
very well acted. I do have to give credit where credit is due. Again, the CG was good. I mean, they felt big. I mean, it was remarkable that they could bring Transformers to the screen as a live action story the way that they did. I mean, that part was incredible. But I mean, it's got to be firing on all thrusters in order for it to be a success. And you may have it look beautiful, but the story and the acting is no good. Then your movie's no good.
Yeah. I mean, you really only get, you get that first movie. If you're not going to bring substance, you bring the spectacle.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got spectacle. So you've got to bring something else to the story that makes people invested. And, where one succeeded tremendously, you had just an absolute fast downward spiral from the first one, which didn't really set that high of a bar to begin with, other than look what we can do.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and I'll have to admit, I was taken by the fact that Optimus Prime was moving around in live action. Well, live action. I mean, I guess he was still a cartoon if you think about it, but interacting with real people, real time kind of thing. That first movie kind of was pretty interesting to me in that regard, but the whole franchise overall was really nothing to be excited about. Some of the designs were barely interesting, but mostly just did not feel like Transformers. The characters were not very well written in regards to the characters that they should have been, that we all knew who they were, and they acted contrary to some of their characteristics.
Yeah, like all of them.
So yeah, when you look at Transformers as a whole, and then coming in and saying, "Oh, Mark Wahlberg was bad," I mean, that's saying something. I mean, if you're like, "Man, Mark Wahlberg was bad in Transformers," how could you tell? Well, I mean, so that's saying something.
Yeah, by that point, yeah, we had slid to such a degree that I just think he was brought in because of his name and to try and generate people around it. But
yeah,
they'd been bad since the second movie, since half of the first movie.
yeah.
And he brought absolutely nothing. I don't know that Shia LaBeouf would have done anything. It took a little bit of a break and approaching the story from a different perspective with Bumblebee to actually produce something that I think gave people a chance to care about the characters.
I still, to this day, and I know we've had this discussion many times. To this day, I still think that Bumblebee is done wrong. I don't like that they changed his size, they changed his standing or his status or his role. I always felt that Bumblebee was better because of his small size and because of the things that he couldn't do that the other larger bots couldn't do.
Yeah, he might as well have just been Sideswipe who couldn't talk.
Yeah, it didn't really fit. Like I said, the characteristics were not there that we knew of for each of these characters that we liked. And so, I mean, to pull in basically a character assassination on some of them, Bumblebee, Sentinel Prime, Optimus Prime, when he killed Sentinel Prime, Megatron didn't even feel right. And then on top of that, when you introduce one of the most popular characters of all time, Soundwave, you do the guy dirty, and he's just not. It's like, no, there's a lot to complain about in Transformers the movie, but it did keep the franchise rolling.
Yes, and we've got another one coming this summer, I think. So hopefully it'll be more toys for us.
Yeah, well, as long as it does its job.
Yeah.
I may not like the movie, I may not like the story, but it does its job, and it keeps toys on the shelves, which that's why we're here.
Yes, indeed, my friend. Well, I guess it's time to ask, what do our viewers think? Do you agree, disagree? That's what the comments are for. Throw us a bone here and let us know that we were right or that you think we're wrong, and we'll prove to you that we're right.
Yep. Our comment section is usually full of tumbleweeds, kind of like that shelf behind you.
Yeah, I know.
But hopefully maybe we'll get some comments stirred up on this one.
All right. Well, that's all I got this time, man.
Yep. I'm out of ideas, so we'll go to the next episode.
All right, we'll see you out in the toy aisles.
Bye, everybody.